one bullet against an entire army. What can you do on your own?
I told you. It's enough.
After 6 years, a failed launch, and Greg, the Master Chief is back, and he's better than ever, or at least better than the last 2 games. The story of Halo Infinite will be one for the books, partly because yes, this is a stellar game, but also because of what it took to get there. Infinite was geared to be the launch title to end all launch titles. Microsoft hoped to recapture the same spirit generated when the original Xbox launched with the first Halo game, and use that to hype up the launch of the Series X. This made sense. After the disastrous Xbox One era, the Series X had to grab the hearts and minds of this generation of gamers while also pay dividends to their longtime supporters. After Greg and the 1-year delay, this game had to be good. No, it had to be amazing. Has 343 landed this Pelican, or are Spartans still missing in action? Well, the game has missing Spartans, but the Pelican has landed, folks. Let me explain.
I don't believe it. You made it.
But before I do, if you do end up enjoying this video, a like would definitely help the channel lots, and if you'd like to see more videos coming soon, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next upload. I will not normally begin my reviews talking about combat, but for this game I must make an exception. A month before Infinite launched, Xbox and 343 drops the Halo Infinite multiplayer for its 20th anniversary. While it has not had the smoothest of launches, with universal agreement, players and critics rank the overall gameplay as S-grade. It's classic Halo, integrated near perfectly with only the best elements of Halo 4 and Halo 5. Halo Infinite plays like the multiplayer, except you're fighting the Banished as opposed to other Spartans or players. You can see classic Halo in how the weapons feel, how the Chief moves when he's on the ground, and the intelligence of the enemy AI. But again, they kept some aspects of Halo 4 and 5, like being able to sprint or aim down sights, as well as use abilities such as dashing and deploying a shield. This was enough. Really, 343 could have ended it here and purists and new generations would have been satisfied. But nah, they had to go all Titanfall on us and give the Master Chief a grapple hook. I spoke about this in the first video I did about Halo Infinite after it was delayed. You can check that one out in the top right corner. My exact words were, one of the standout abilities added to the Halo Infinite campaign was a grapple hook. I have thoughts. The Master Chief is huge. It's hard to believe he can be as nimble as what we saw with the grapple hook. I don't agree with the physics here. In Titanfall and Apex Legends, we see how epic having a grapple hook is. I just don't know if it would work in a Halo game. I do understand that it helps with traversal, but I would have preferred the boosters to solve for that. I was wrong. No, I was right. Kinda. But I was also wrong. Let's start with the bad. It is physically impossible for a string of cable to support the Master Chief the way this thing does in this game. Dude weighs like 450 kilograms or 1,000 pounds. That's like Andre the Giant times 2. And yeah, in some version of the future with starships and aliens, this is very possible. But it's not Halo. The Chief is described as a tank in the Halo universe. Granted, the Spartans are quick, nimble super soldiers, but seeing the Chief dancing in the air like a pilot from Titanfall, it's really jarring. That was the bad. Now the good. And the good is great. Check this out. Right? The grapple hook revolutionizes the traditional Halo gameplay loop. You can use it to move around the map. Using the grapple to get from point A to point B is faster than a mongoose. I checked. Mid-combat, you can maneuver around the battlefield avoiding damage, then get close to enemies and hit them with a melee or high-impact slam. Grapple the weapons and eject the vehicles. It adds tons of verticality to the gameplay loop, as well as speeds up each engagement as the Chief is no longer planted to one side of the map as he engages in combat. Don't like the position you're in? Grapple behind the blokes, grab that rocket launcher on the other side and hit them in the back. Done. I think most people will like this new addition to the game. Titanfall players will feel right at home here since the dynamics of the grapple are similar to Respawn's version, maybe slightly toned down. What do you think? Should the grapple be included as part of the default kit in multiplayer? Sound off in the comments below. You have access to other Spartan abilities such as the thrusters and shield wall we've seen in previous games, as well as a threat sensor, something I found extremely useful when fighting higher tier enemies. Enemy AI is on point. I played on Heroic and so there were no pushover, especially in a crowd. The grapple hook and other abilities only work well in this open world environment. Every encounter is a scenario that you can control as a chief. You have control over your positioning, your loadouts, your backup, and your vehicles. There is a ton of gameplay flexibility that enhances the gameplay, but this is also gained at the cost of something we have all come to love from Halo. Memorable moments. In Halo 1, the silent cartographer map. In Halo 2, the assault on New Mombasa. In Halo 3, the final dash to forward onto Dawn. And in Halo 4, fighting alongside other Spartans for the very first time. Each prior Halo game has had memorable moments, handcrafted by the developers to ensure that they were seared into your memory for years to come. In Halo Infinite, 343 have left you, the player, to create these experiences in the sandbox given. Thinking about my time playing the game, however, it was hard to pinpoint any situation that left a lasting impression as the ones in the previous Halo games. As a result, the greatest success here in terms of gameplay is a sandbox that 343 have created. I hope in the future, more memorable moments are created by 343 themselves within this environment. As a package, combat is great, but the grapple takes it to a whole other level. The moment-to-moment gameplay will keep you coming back to this open world after the campaign and for any planned expansions. While there are no pivotal moments in the campaign that will leave you speechless, every moment in the game is a chance for you to create your own memorable experiences within the flexible sandbox. Halo and Twitch streamers rejoice, the gameplay loop is near perfect. Now, let's talk about some of the not so great stuff, like Zayla Halo itself.
We're coming in too fast! Damn! Air brake failure! They blew too early! I'm losing her! Brace for impact!
The map in Halo Infinite, I imagine, is an original Halo Combat Evolved fan's wet dream. If you ever thought, hey, the second level of Halo is amazing, I wish there was more of that, then I've got news for you. The first two levels of the game are linear. They take place in a banished ship and a Forerunner structure before opening into this open world environment. The banished ship is good. It's bright reds and dark corners, while the Forerunner structure is built with high pillars, blue lights, and dark corners. After you get past these levels, the rest of the map and the part you spend much of the campaign in opens up. It's broken up into parts that are only accessible as you progress through the story. The map is big, at least larger than any semi-open section of any previous Halo game that you would have seen. The devs played with terrain well in this world, adding in hills and valleys and mountains and flush Forerunner structures. This all sounds great, except that after the first hour of play, you've basically seen everything the ring has to offer. Variety beyond what you see in the first hour doesn't exist. This was surprising since in the first Halo game you had at least 4 biomes. You had the large open mountain areas, then you had the internal Forerunner structures that were huge, then the snowy tundra, and finally beaches. Zeta Halo from one end of the map to the other feels samey. I get that it fits into the narrative that the game takes place on a comparatively small piece of the ring, but the result is a map that you lose interest in soon after landing. With that said, the things you get to do on Zeta Halo are quite fun. Littered across the map are forward operating bases, banished facilities, targets to hunt, marines to rescue, and collectibles. Finding and completing these activities reward you with valor, which unlocks new weapons and vehicles at these operating bases. They act as hubs, or towers, that once unlocked reveal the other points of interest on the map. Besides the FOBs, these other collectibles do a lot to enhance the gameplay in Halo Infinite. Targets that you can hunt and kill reward you with a special variant of some of the weapons you can find on the map. Spartan cores are used to upgrade the Spartan abilities you can get, like electrifying the grapple hook. This enhanced ability stuns grappled enemies, allowing you to close in on them while they are immobilized. There are caches hidden around the map that when open give you a cosmetic item that can be used in Halo multiplayer. These are all spread out around the map, and as you take more FOBs, more of the map opens up and more of these things you can get. It was never too excessive, and by the time the credits rolled, I had finished at least 70% as the campaign takes you right across the map. Overall, Zeta Halo was an okay map to play in. While the novelty from the visual presentation wears off after the first impressions, it is saved by the content contained in it. This map enhances the moment-to-moment gameplay that Halo Infinite introduces. As a possible template for future Halo experiences, I think 343 have a winner here, at least for the next few Halo games. It is a successful tool to tell the story. However, the story it tells is not that much better. Most gamers, including myself, were not fans of the direction that 343 took the franchise, or more specifically, some of the characters after Halo 4. Let's start with Cortana. As far as support characters are concerned, Cortana is up there with the best, like Ellie from The Last of Us on the PS3, or Elizabeth from Bioshock Infinite. In fact, some would agree that the precedent she set as an independent but invaluable support character has been used in support characters ever since. Halo 4 was a change in direction for the character, yes, but it made sense that she would have a strong connection with the Chief, and if that connection were ever to be severed, she would react in the way that she did. What happened to her in Halo 5 did not need to happen though. In fact, Cortana's story in Halo Infinite is just 343 erasing the events of Halo 5 and pushing the restart button. This is Cortana's story, except it has very little Cortana in it. While the pilot, the weapon, and the banished leadership have powerful moments in the game, the common thread line is Cortana. As for the Master Chief, well, he is a bit more sure-footed than he was in Halo 5. In Halo 4, the Chief was acting like a man who was about to lose everything. At this point in the Halo universe story, Blue Team is MIA as well as Halsey. Johnson and both Captain Keyes were KIA, and the only friend that the Chief had left was Cortana. Yet despite this fear in him, he still understood the assignment and completed the mission. Halo 4 showed us a side to both these characters that we never knew existed, while remaining true to what the Chief is and what he is capable of. Halo 5, he was literally playing second fiddle to Locke. He seems so unsettled, a far cry from the sure footing that he has always had in every rendition prior, even Halo 4 when it was all going down. In Halo Infinite, 343 are course correcting, resulting in a Chief that is in the process of letting go of Cortana and moving on. In this process, he has grown, and accept that he is human, and you see it in how he treats fallen soldiers or his enemies for that matter. The one bright spot of the direction that 343 took with the series of games is putting a bit more humanity within the Mjolnir armor. The pilot was my least favorite character, often questioning the Chief's ability, which is always a big mistake. It is fair to have some doubts, but every human being in the Halo universe, I imagine, is aware of the Chief, what he has accomplished, and how often his missions are critical to the survival of the entire human race. The pilot has personal reasons for why he acts the way he does, but he comes across as whiny. The weapon, on the other hand, was better in my opinion. The weapon is a modified AI created by Dr. Halsey for the sole purpose of destroying Cortana. She is very fresh and naive, often not recognizing the danger she or the Chief are in. This changes as the game progresses, where she experiences new things and her origin and purpose are made clearer. She's a cool addition to the Halo universe. The relationship between her and the Chief is a major plot point, and 343 explores in detail.
They call this security, please. Hold tight. I'll handle it.
The UNSC lost this war months ago. Your people are broken, scattered, hunted, defeated by me.
As for the Banished, well, there aren't any individual characters that stand out. The main villain, Escharum, is your typical bad guy, complete with grunts and villain monologues. Not the best video game villain out there, and not someone you will remember when the credits roll. The most interesting thing about the Banished is the story around the entire group. It's a well-written story overall. You almost begin to feel for them by the time the credits roll. It's good storytelling, but also great character display by the Master Chief in one particular scene. It makes you realize that in some wars, it's all about perspective. One thing that I think 343 got wrong was how the story is presented. You move around the map from mission to mission with exposition in the form of projections of characters and events that occurred months before you arrived. There are some moments that occur in real time, but the bulk is told through recordings you find throughout the map. This all comes to the fore by the end, where it all makes sense. But the Chief is not part of the story, just someone watching history to make sense of the present. One other issue is a feeling that there is so much left to tell. The name of the game, Halo Infinite, suggests that we will be on this ring for some time in the future. It becomes clear toward the end of the campaign that this is part one of many, and the stakes are going to be higher. While the campaign is not short by most standards, it's not rich, and likely the best way to experience the entire Halo Infinite story experience, current and future, would be to wait for the future content to drop and play it all at once. But nobody has time for that, so we play what we can get. So in conclusion, after finishing Halo Infinite, the best way I could describe the campaign would be to call it a palate cleanser, an appetizer. The memory left by Halo 5 is quickly erased, and by the end of it, the game makes you eager for the next Halo property coming out of 343, which is a good thing. I think 343 nailed the key things that Halo 5 and parts of Halo 4 got wrong, including combat, story, and characters. This template is near perfect, and I cannot wait for what comes next for the Chief. That's it. That is the review. Thank you for watching until the end. It really means a lot. If you enjoyed the video and think that I deserve it, hitting that like button is a great way to let me know. If you would like to see more videos from the channel, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next upload. Thank you again for watching, and we will chat in the next one. Cheers.
Took too long. You could have been killed.
It's okay. You saved us both.